Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Duane speaks with Abby Heidari, Director of Nutrition at the Kansas Beef Council. She'll talk about ways to combine beef products with a Mediterranean diet. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Duane Toews talks with David Gregg with World Perspectives Incorporated about expanding information to meet consumer demand. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Duane visits with Abby Heidari about incorporating beef into a Mediterranean diet.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas. And a chance to catch up with Abby Heidari, Director of Nutrition for the Kansas Beef Council. And Abby, you know, you've got some exciting things going on. We continue to work step and lockstep, if you will, with consumers to continue to provide that great message about beef and its dense, nutritious product.
That's right. And beef has a great place on a Mediterranean diet plate. We were able to do a consumer trends forum today for our KLA producers and let them know about some new Mediterranean diet research that's been published recently this last summer. So that research really shows us that while Mediterranean diet is very popular in the U.S. and it also always is going to consume a large amount of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, it's also great to know that we can include lean beef on that Mediterranean diet plate and still see some great cardiovascular disease risk decreases. We can see an improvement in the heart cholesterol levels as well as blood pressure cholesterol levels.
We think about a number of those diets, and unfortunately, sometimes they get that fad diet mantra, if you will. The realities are balanced diets are probably more important for the majority of the consuming public, and understanding just exactly how beef works in that.
So a Mediterranean diet isn't actually a diet as much as it is a collection of eating patterns. And what we're seeing with that is because it's not a diet and it's a lifestyle change, it's not as strict. So individuals who are able to adhere to something more flexible are much more likely to enjoy the flavors and the foods within them. The adherence and continuing to stay with that type of dietary pattern is better. So overall, if we can include other protein sources such as lean beef in a Mediterranean style eating pattern that we know is going to also reduce cholesterol levels and blood pressure levels, we're seeing a great impact on consumers with their heart health.
You reference that really it is almost a diet or a lifestyle change. It appears for most folks, as we see millennials come on board particularly, that flavor is king and looking at new opportunities and ways to be creative in the kitchen, but doing that in a healthy lifestyle as well.
Well, taste and pleasure are one of the biggest impacts that really reaches consumers and their preferences. So we really do focus on some of our outreach that includes those chef skills, Mediterranean diet recipe collections that reach out to consumers and let them know how to cook that lean beef in their kitchen setting on their own.
Our thanks to Abby Heidari, Director of Nutrition for the Kansas Beef Council, joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Stay tuned here to Farm Factor for this week's Kansas Soybean update coming up next.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Imagine everything you could ever dream about when it comes to horses. Those dreams come true at the 21st Annual Equifest coming to Topeka, Kansas in February at the Kansas Expo Center, the largest equine expo in the Midwest with shopping, food, clinics, workshops, and more. World-class trainers, over 100 horses performing throughout the 3 days, displaying a variety of breeds, disciplines, demonstrations, and competitions. Vendors from all over the U.S. and non-stop entertainment. If you love horses, join us at Equifest of Kansas in Topeka, Kansas. Get tickets at equifestofks.com.
PFI Western Store, home of Boot Daddy, proud to be part of Equifest. PFI, located at 65 on Battlefield in Springfield, Missouri. Spend $50 at PFI and get a Boot Daddy hoodie for only $10.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Casey Kindler, Communications Manager with the Animal Agriculture Alliance, is joining us. And Casey, coming up in the month of May, you have your 2019 Annual Stakeholder Summit.
This year we are back in Kansas City. We switch off between where we're based in Arlington, Virginia and the Kansas City area. So it's May 8th and 9th. The theme is a seat at the table. So really this year is all about bringing everyone to the table to have those discussions about the supply chain, about their farm, their ranch, whether they're in agribusiness, a company, food service, and retail. Everyone in the supply chain needs to be at the same table, having these discussions and being on the same page.
You don't see a lot of that happening up until this point.
There's been a lot of, whether it's restaurant, retail, they're being pressured to make policy announcements, and so making sure that they're hearing from their suppliers is very important.
Kansas Soybeans is the sponsor of this as well, so you can see the importance that really goes not only from the livestock industry, but into the grain industry too.
So we wouldn't really be able to put on this event at all without the support of our sponsors like Kansas Soybean. And so really having everyone there, no matter what part of agriculture you come from. A lot of soybean farmers, they rely on the beef producers, the poultry producers. And so having everyone in the same room, really getting to know each other is a really great opportunity.
Is there some of this too in communication on having people at the table like that?
Absolutely. I think any in-person event, any in-person interaction is a lot better than email or even social media. There's still that hunger for that in-person, face-to-face interaction and really getting to know someone, on the personal level, but also on that professional level as well as, who they are in their business.
Because you fight so much misinformation that is out there about the industry from the farmer to that food service person.
This year we're going to have a ton of speakers. We're going to have a panel about influencers, how to, effectively communicate with influencers, put on your own influencer tour. So all the speakers will give attendees tangible solutions to their issues, and hopefully, they can go back and immediately implement those things on their farm or ranch or their agribusiness, wherever they come from.
Do they need to register?
Registration is open, and early registration deadlines close April 1st. So getting those in before April 1st, you'll get a little bit of a discount there. But to also help farmers get into the room, getting farmers to the table, there will be a photo contest. So all you have to do for that is take a picture of what your table looks like at home. Post that on Facebook or Instagram, and then tag the Alliance in it with our hashtag AAA19, and you'll be entered into the photo contest, and that runs through February 10th. So you can visit our website to register and also find out more about the event and the attendees, the speakers at animalagalliance.org/summit.
That is Casey Kindler, Communications Manager with the Animal Agriculture Alliance, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Duane Toews and David Gregg with World Perspectives Incorporated.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about product information demand around the globe with Duane Toews and David Gregg.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with David Gregg with World Perspectives Incorporated. David, we think about the food system in the United States and globally. It can be complex, likely will become more so, but more folks are wanting more information with the food they consume.
Yeah, generally I think that's the trend across most of the industry segments, whether it's proteins or produce, even ready-to-eat snack type foods that folks are grabbing, these quicker to-go menu meals. They want information on the package, and used to be it was generally, you had your USDA guidelines for what you're going to put on a package, your FDA guidelines. Well, now folks are keenly interested in a story as well in some cases, and this has opened up opportunities in marketing, but it's also opened up a lot of challenges for the agri-food industry to respond to consumer demand.
Recently, you had an opportunity to talk to producers about some of those things. What were the key takeaways that you really hope they got and understand about what our food system is all about?
So we conducted a feasibility study on animal ID and traceability in the beef cattle industry, in the U.S. beef cattle industry, and we did talk to a lot of producers, a lot of beef producers, and we talked to a lot of folks up and down the value chain. The key kind of takeaway for us is from the producer side, there is an understanding of what consumer demand is becoming. There's an understanding of these trends that we see in folks wanting more information about what they eat, where it comes from. So there's an understanding at the consumer level. There's also an understanding when you think about global trade dynamics and where we are exporting our food products. Globally, major markets are demanding more and more information about the food they import. And this includes developed markets, of course, but also developing markets in Asia, Southeast Asia. And so, we've acknowledged, we've talked to these producers, and there's an understanding of both the consumer demand and then the dynamics with global trade. It's nice to see, here at KLA, the association has come together in a way responding to that type of demand by looking at a pilot program for animal disease traceability.
We think about the realities and the complexities. The fortunate side is that we're seeing the technologies being developed that can accomplish what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. In the case of this meeting, the association talked about the cattle trace program, where they are using ultra-high frequency technology to trace cattle movement. So if there's a disease outbreak, it can quickly be identified, the what and the where, and that ultimately builds consumer confidence in a system that is not going to allow lower quality or tainted product into the value chain. And again, at the U.S. consumer level and also globally.
Talking about that global perspective, though, particularly when you look at international markets, there are more of those that you referenced are starting to demand that information, and there will be only a few countries that are capable of providing that at this point.
Yeah, I think when you look at where we see major growth potential in some Asian and African markets, there is certainly an identifiable trend of consumers being a little bit more keen in the products they're demanding, and also governments wanting to ensure for food safety purposes that the food they bring in is traceable, for example, and is coming from a logistical and a production value chain that has high standards, checks, balances, evaluations of quality and safety throughout the chain. So the U.S. is one of those countries that can provide that. All right, we are blessed with a really robust agri-food industry. We're very efficient. We have high quality products. And again, just referencing back to what's happening here in Kansas with the cattle trace program, we're now seeing industries respond, going even deeper to improve the profile of the products they're producing by tracing this or that, or by ensuring a quality aspect.
The blockchain technology is something that is discussed from time to time. Is that a part of this system and transferring that information from the producer all the way to the consumer?
We're seeing some private companies using blockchain. Cargill has a blockchain pilot program going with poultry and turkey meat. We're seeing some more blockchain pilot, I guess, test programs being used in produce all across agri-food, the agri-food sector. I think blockchain has a place, but I think it's important not to overly focus on the blockchain, which is really a mechanism for sharing and transferring data. We can't put that ahead of actually making sure we have a system, or each sector, each production area has a system that's able to capture the data effectively and feed it into the blockchain. So the blockchain is part of the architecture, but it's really useless unless you have good data to feed into it.
Our thanks to David Gregg joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
About 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better and didn't get better. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Got down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30, the procedure was all over, and it just kept getting better and better. And within 6 weeks, I was back digging post holes and doing the other hard work that I'd been doing before the accident. And I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Today on our Kansas Farm Bureau update, meet the Brunkers family, one of 10 families honored to be named a Kansas Farm Bureau Farm Family of the Year.
Charlie and Jessica Brunker operate a 5th-generation farm in Johnson County. They farm more than 4,000 no-till acres that produce corn, wheat, soybeans, and hay. The couple also run 110 head of spring calving cows and 35 fall calving cows. The herd consists of Angus, Simmental, and club calves. Jessica and Charlie are both 3rd-generation Kansas Farm Bureau members and understand what it means to be Farm Bureau proud. Jessica currently serves as the Johnson County Farm Bureau Board President. The couple has also attended the Leeds trip to Washington, D.C., and hosted several legislative dinners at their farm. The couple enjoys serving their community by giving back in many ways. Both are active in the First Presbyterian Church of Gardner and give their time to the Johnson County Fair Association. Charlie serves as the arena superintendent, and Jessica serves as beef superintendent. Charlie and Jessica are thankful Kansas Farm Bureau provides the tools and resources for a smooth family farm transition. They believe Kansas Farm Bureau is the voice farm families can trust.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's join Kyle Bauer and Duane Toews for a little Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the sneaky Duane Toews.
It's almost like
he says something really witty.
Right.
And then we start recording.
And then I hit go.
We have to admit, these shows are recorded. We are not doing these live.
I must admit, we are not in your TV set.
When this show plays, Duane probably isn't even thinking about waking up yet. I, on the other hand, probably just finally gone to sleep.
Well, your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer.
Yes.
Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun
was
named Ice. Fact or fiction?
Oh, my gosh. I should get this right. I've seen it.
It was one of the iconic movies of all time.
I know.
Top Gun.
Yeah,
no.
It
patriotic
was the other
than that.
guy that was Ice. Fiction.
Hey, you're right. Val Kilmer.
Yeah, he had kind of like a crew cut, so he's kind of ice, spiky hair. I don't know if that's why
it didn't have anything to do with his hair. It was like he had ice water in his veins.
Okay, what was Tom Cruise called?
I can't.
You can't remember either. I will tell you, the best ever was one night we were playing poker and time to go home, 10 o'clock, and so one of the guys went out and started his pickup so it would warm up. It was July. No, it was really cold, like maybe January.
Okay.
Went out and started his pickup. Well, the guy who was hosting that night had Top Gun, and somebody saw it and said, "Oh my gosh, Top Gun, throw this in." So he threw it in. Well, the guy that started his pickup came back in, and we were
started watching a movie.
Top Gun.
And his car idled for 2 hours.
For 2 hours. He went out. The snow was melted around at 10 feet in all directions.
I bet the car was warm.
It really was. So every time I see Top Gun, I think about the night that Benny melted the entire parking lot off with his pickup.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's, no harm, no foul, really.
Oh, no, he didn't run out of gas. I have heard of a few people idling and running out of gas. I am surprised. I'm that guy who watches my mileage all the time. If I can bring it up on the car, I bring it up.
All right.
And I watch it. I can tell you between here and Wichita where areas I'm going to go up in my average mileage and what areas I'm going to go down.
You have too much idle time behind the wheel,
well,
obviously.
What do you want me to do behind the wheel? Drive?
Normally you've got an audio book in or something.
That's true. But
learning how to speak Spanish.
But I can still calculate while I'm doing it. But anyway, I am amazed at when you stop at stop signs and have to sit there and idle, how quickly
your mileage goes
knocks
down.
your mileage. I can have. Well, we went to Denver
and sitting
back.
and idling, or is it the acceleration to get back up to speed?
Well, that's part of it too, and that's one of those things with what's they call circles that they call them that you don't have to
roundabouts.
Stop. Roundabout, that's it.
Yeah.
And they're always round, and sometimes you go about. But I think that's one of the reasons those work in society is all those cars don't have to come to a dead stop.
Unless you have the person in front of you that really doesn't understand how a roundabout works.
Right.
Then he's stopped, and now so are you.
Yes, and
Which
those
really
people should
frustrating.
have their license taken away from them.
They should just remove it.
So,
citizen's arrest, remove your license.
Since we're talking citizen's arrests, also, when you look in your rearview mirror, and there is a number of cars behind you, The problem isn't those people.
Isn't behind you.
And the problem is you. Yeah. So you should be a good citizen.
Find a place to get over.
And pull off, take your keys, and throw them out in the pasture.
But don't do it when your car's in the drive.
No.
Because then
the farmer can't get in.
Yeah, the farmer can't get into his pasture.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.